Oh my God. Hi everyone. As you can see, we're in a different location. We're currently in the basement. That's why it's like so dark and creepy. And as you can see, there's an N54 block right here. Now, if you didn't watch the previous video, I removed the crankshaft from my N55 block right here. As you can see, it's on a pallet. It's been standing there for a while, and well, here's the N54 block that I disassembled. As you can see, the crankshaft is out. It's been polished, it's been cleaned, and so this thing is ready to go inside of my N55 block. And so pretty much at this point, what I have left to do is I have to remove the head and then remove the pistons, at least the one that's damaged from the spun rod, and then we can head on from there and assemble a new piston and connecting rod, put back the head, new gaskets, everything. Just a lot of cleaning overall. And yeah, I'm pretty excited. In this part, I won't be fully reassembling everything. I don't have all the parts, unfortunately. I'll pretty much just be reassembling the whole bottom end. Let's get to work. As you can see, this is a 6-bolt N54 crankshaft, and so this will fit perfectly, perfect retrofit for my case. Okay, so as you can see, the valve cover's back on, all the fuel lines are all back on. Again, I just put this back like real quick together so that nothing would get inside the engine while this was in storage. I'm just gonna take all of this off. You already seen it in the last part, so I'm not gonna bore you with that. And we'll just meet again once all this is taken off. Okay, so there's a couple steps that I forgot to anticipate, but mainly to remove the cylinder head, we need to remove the fuel lines, but also these middle trays, because they're hiding some of the bolts for the cylinder head bolts. And what that means is I have to remove the injectors, and that kind of sucks because I have to get new seals and possibly new injectors if they're stuck in the cylinder head. That definitely does raise the cost of this rebuild, but let's just hope everything goes well. First, let's just start with this fuel line. Take a 17mm wrench, and you can undo. Next, what you want to do is grab your 11mm and remove these 4 bolts holding the tray. There you go. Back on top here, we need to remove these injector holders. So first you need to remove the 8mm nut on all 3 of these banks. These are like the grounds basically, and then you remove your 2 10mm bolts. All right. Now that the holders are taken off, now we can take off the injectors. To remove the injectors, I would recommend you to get the special tool. Frankly, I think it just saves you a lot of time. It's like $40 online. The way it works is that you counterclockwise, you screw these in, and then you're gonna screw this one in to screw the injector inside. And so you want your tool to be facing this way. And now you want to go clockwise. Wow, these injectors came out perfect. Now you can just loosen your bolts. All right. So that's both of our injectors out. And so when you're taking them out, make sure that this sealing ring is still on it. If not, then that means it's seized on the block, on the head, and you're gonna have to take it out somehow. For me, what I worked, because I already did these on my other engine, I had to use a screwdriver and literally just destroy it and then pick up the pieces that were left of it. All right, so I'm just gonna keep doing it for all the other ones. If I ever have an issue, I'll show it to you guys, but it's just the same process for all 6. Just to show you guys a quick example of what I meant by them getting stuck. This one was really hard to get out. Like the tool was bending. But as you can see, this is what happens. The sealing ring will seize inside of the head, and then that's what gets stuck. What I recommend is putting some WD-40, and it should help a bit. I don't know how much it helps, but just like going back and forth a bit should help. So I will have to take the rest of the sealing ring out. All right, so as you can see, all the injectors came out. Now you want to take a T30 socket, and there's essentially just 2 bolts holding these pans, I guess. And then we can just take these out. Now I couldn't find my rubber mallet anywhere, so I'm gonna have to improvise. Don't forget to take these small gaskets out. Oh wait, what is that? What's this doing here? Oh my god, guys. Could this have been the cause? Oh, I think this might be from the valve cover actually. Okay, it might have fell. I don't think this was the cause, guys, but that's weird. Good thing I caught it in time, because otherwise that would have been catastrophic. So now we have access to every single head bolt except one, and it's hidden underneath this eccentric shaft. So E8, you just want to remove this little bolt. Okay, that was quite tight. So you should be able to remove it. There we go. I'll just put this bolt right back in. So I think if you can turn it completely on this side, you should have access to that head bolt. In the last video, I don't know if you guys remember, I used an impact gun to undo the crank hub bolt, but unfortunately it wasn't getting unstuck, and I was actually just spinning the motor over a bit. And well, now the camshafts are slightly moved, and I'd like them to be back into their roughly their good position. That way, once I do the timing of the engine, I won't have any issues. To know if your cams are positioned correctly, these QR codes need to be facing up. And as you see, they're slightly moved. So for the intake side, you can easily have access here. On the exhaust side, you are going to need to move it from the back. Before I do any of that, I will remove the cam gears. So let's just undo those. The bolts were already loose because I loosened them in the last episode. Right. Very importantly, do not mix these up, all right? If you ever forget or mix them up, you can always look here. This is written aus, so this is exhaust in German. All right, that's the intake side out. For in German, intake is eins. Ein. All right, so I have a slightly modified 20 millimeter. It barely fits, but so it's facing roughly upwards. I got an adjustable one. Let's see if, oh yeah. All right, perfect. So just want to show you guys now. Both QR codes are facing upwards, so we will be able to time this engine correctly. Okay, last thing we need to do before removing the head. I'm going to remove the timing chain and the timing chain guides simply because I want to clean the block afterwards. What you really need to remove if you want to do the bare minimum is, you can see here, there's a kind of a attachment point here. You detach it with like a screwdriver or whatever, and you can just take this top part out. I don't want to break these guys. I want to reuse them. So I'm just going to remove the whole setup together, and so less risk of breaking something and then having to buy more stuff. So first, what you want to do is you want to remove these two E8 bolts. Let's remove the valve adjusters. This top one, I put a green tape on it because it's not good. It was broken. It was giving me codes and stuff. Take it off. Oh, okay. All right, and I'm gonna move this pin. Oh my God. And down here, sorry, there's not a lot of visibility, but you need a T45 here at the bottom. Oh, all right. That's some weird lighting. I don't know why it looks green and yellow. Probably just because of these neons. Ow. Just pull this out. Now that the whole timing chain system is out, as you can see, we have access to that one little bolt that we needed. So as always, when you need to remove a head, there's always a specific procedure to remove the head to reduce the risk to warp it or bend it in a way that you don't really want to. What you need to do is you need to remove this bolt right here, this bolt right here, and this bolt right here first, and then remove this one, and then we'll move on to the rest of the head. So for all of the four bolts, it takes an E12. Let's get to it. Let me come back for a cheater bar. Let's remove the bolts. All right, and now that all those bolts are taken out, now there's a specific order on how to take them out. Essentially, you have 4 smaller bolts on the outer side of the head. So these two here and these two over there. And then you have bigger bolts all here in the center. And you need to remove the smaller bolts first and then proceed to the bigger ones after. So essentially you're just doing from outside all the way to inside. I'll post the image of the sequence, but that's essentially it. All right, we are going to need the breaker bar for this one. Never mind, so it's T60. We're going to need to move this eccentric shaft over so I can have access to that bolt. Let me go get some help. Just notice I also have to remove one of the stops through the eccentric shaft. It's in the way. So you need a 11 millimeter. All right, so as you can see, this is the bump stop, right? Everyone say W girlfriend in the chat. One last thing before you remove the head. As you can see, I removed all the bolts, but the washers are still stuck in there. So don't forget to take them out, because if you try to torque it down with 2 washers, you will have catastrophe. Okay. There you go, guys. That's how you remove a head. I like that it's written N55 on the head gasket. You can still see the cross hatching is perfect. Actually, there's a bit of wear here. Nothing that I can feel. So, yeah, the wear, as you can see, is pretty uniform. Every single one has like wear on this side. And I'm pretty sure it's because it's the load. That's where the load goes on the pistons. So it may be normal. All right, well, this is the next day. As you can see, our N55 block is now on the engine stand. The N54 is, well, over there. I have no use for it anymore. And before removing the pistons, there's one thing we need to do according to the service manual. As you can see here, there's a ring of carbon buildup in the cylinder wall. And before removing the pistons, to avoid any damaging, I guess, or scoring, they do recommend to clean this off. Let's just spray some. Let's spray some on our shell toe. So I might not be able to remove everything, but at least I'll have all the big chunks out. As you can see, everything cleaned up pretty nicely, actually. There's a bit of staining left, but all the chunks came out. And actually, what I do recommend more is carburetor cleaner. So now that all of that is done, I'm gonna turn over the engine. All right, finally, every single bolt has been taken out. We can then now take off the bed plate. Okay. And well, now the pistons are fully accessible. I didn't need to remove the bed plate to do that, but I still needed to take it out. So I have a Sharpie right here, and I'm gonna mark every single piston. So the front is towards here. There we go. So just imagine the piston was like this. So here, 1. All the pistons are out, and well, number 4 is quite dark around here. It's gone oval. You can almost kind of tell. So we're gonna have to replace this one. Next step is I want to repair these holes right here. These little aluminum bolts that are your oil pan bolts are M8s by 1.25. What we want to see is if I can save these threads, because they're really messed up. All right, so let's try to put in our threads. Okay, we got a lot of junk out of it. Let's see if we can screw it in. I just hope none of the threads come out. Let's see, what about this one? Yeah, this hole is way too big for an M8, so I will have to use helicoils for this one. So I have the supplied drill bit from the kit. Now you want to make sure that it's levels. From this side it's level. This side. Yeah, we're gonna have to put this up. Okay. So let's turn this on. First, I want to measure the depth of it. So 26 millimeter is the depth. So now you use the supplied tap that they give you. So what you want to do is go back and forth a bit. Want to have some good threads. Okay, there's some pretty good threads. I'm just gonna go to my air compressor, compress all of the junk out, and then we'll be able to put the helicoil in. Now that our hole has been done, you just put it into this little tool, which goes in the middle of your helicoil, and you just start threading it in. And there you go. You can also use your issued punch tool. You just punch it out. So now, if we get our bolt, we should be able to thread our bolt in. Seems good. Now that all the bolt holes are clean and proper now, so that we can put the oil pan bolts back in, now we just have to make sure that our surface is well prepped. For that, I have fine Scotch-Brite, and you can use that with WD-40, brake cleaner, whatever you like, and it will clean up the surface real good. All right, and this is the result of like maybe what, 30 minutes of cleaning with Scotch-Brite. This thing looks excellent. All right, so a bit of a jump. This is the next day for me. For you, it's probably just 5 seconds later. But as you can see, the block is no longer on the engine stand. It's now on my pallet. And why am I doing that? Well, if you remember the last video, I couldn't spin the crankshaft due to the clearances between the engine stand mount and, well, the crankshaft. So if I want to spin the crankshaft, see if everything goes well, I can't have it on the engine stand. I know, it's a bit stupid. I'll eventually get some longer bolts or something so that the crankshaft clears, but for now this can do. It's perfectly fine, it's not that heavy. And the longest part in any engine building project is always cleaning. Clean, clean, clean. The cleanliness of your engine is what is going to determine how good of a rebuild you have. Now obviously, as you can see, I still have some varnish. I didn't bring it to the machine shop, but I cleaned all the surfaces, all the mating surfaces as best as I can, and I sincerely think it's gonna be good. Also, I put the air compressor in every single little hole I could, and well, I have a brake cleaner to clean any parts. What we want to do is to see if our main bearings are in spec with the crankshaft and all of that. First, let's remove the old main bearings. The next step is to put in the new bearings. For all the bearings, I got myself some King bearings. They're pretty good bearings, to be honest. Right next to axial, I use both. I just think they're a better upgrade overall. These are all standard size, so that means there's no specific sizes, just like BMW uses, like with the blue, red, and green main and rod bearings. So this, you can just place them wherever you want, except for this one, the thrust bearing. The main thrust bearing goes in the middle, so between piston 3 and 4. Also be careful, there's also a larger one. This one goes here at the extremity. All the other ones are smaller. And there you go. All the main bearings have been placed. Now, don't forget, you have another set of main bearings. This one goes on the lower half of the engine, and so you also have to replace those ones. Those ones are just completely flat. I'm just gonna install these off camera because I don't have enough space to have both in frame. All right, and now that all the main bearings have been placed, you can finally put in your crankshaft. Now that the crankshaft is placed, we're going to have to check with plastic gauge if the clearances are correct. So let's just cut little strips. All right, so I placed a little piece on every single crank journal, and I'm going to place now the bed plate. Now all we need to do is put the old bolts that we had. Obviously, you don't reuse them, but you can use them to check for the plastic gauge clearances. I won't be installing the aluminum bolts that go around because they're one-time use. So I'm only going to torque these middle bolts. And so the torquing procedure is from middle to outer, and it's 20 millimeters plus 70 degrees. And that is it. Now we have to undo all of them. Ooh. All right, so overall, they all look the exact same size, so that's good news. So now, all you want to measure is, if we're in spec. So as you can see, we're right in between 0.38 and 0.25. And that is pretty much right in the middle of the spec, which is great news. And it's the importance is that everything is equally distributed. Here they're a bit missing. They all stuck to the other side, but I checked and yeah, they're all the exact same size, that 0.038 millimeter, which is perfectly in the middle. I think it's between 0.025 and 0.046, if I believe. And so the spec is actually 0.02 to 0.046 millimeters. And so that means that our bearings are all good to go. To clean them off, I've always used brake cleaner. I have one last thing I want to check. I need to check the crankshaft plate because it does feel a bit tight, but we'll see if it's still in spec. Okay, so I thought the clearances would be were too tight, but after converting, because this is in inches and the specs are given in millimeters, so the shaft play is from 0.06 to 0.25 millimeters, which is incredibly small. And in inches, it's from 0.0023 inches to 0.0098 or hundredth of an inch, roughly. I got it bottomed out at 0 here. Now I'm gonna push it. And so as you can see right here, I'm at roughly 0.008 inches, which is on the looser side. Pull it back. I should go back to 0, yeah. And so yeah, as you can see, I'm getting consistently 0.007 to 0.008 millimeters, which is in spec. It's on the higher side. It's on the higher side towards 0.250 millimeters, but it still is good. Now I'll be able to fully reassemble the bed plate and we'll be able to spin this crankshaft and it shouldn't bind up on anything. It was pretty much sure that it would fit and the clearances would all be good, but it's great to have some peace of mind knowing that the shaft play is good, the bearing clearances are all good. Anyways, I also got the machine shop to check out the specs on their own side because they all have all the specs on the sheet and they told me everything checked out. So now I got some assembly lube. You can also put engine oil if you really want to, but I'm gonna go with the assembly lube. All right, those are all lubed up. We can put back the crankshaft. Now that that is done, we can put some lube on the other lower half right here. Now, for the sealing, the weird substance that was here before was actually, I think it was like some sort of chemical that like worked with lack of oxygen. I'm not really sure what type it was, but anyways, BMW says that you can also use Loctite 5970, which if you search up the specs of it, it's essentially just Permatex Black RTV. And this is good because this is like really cheap and you can find it at any parts store. And you have like roughly an hour, a bit more than an hour to torque all your bolts down and put your main seals. And then it takes like, I think 24 hours to fully cure. You want to cut the tip so that it fits exactly the width of the groove. I really envy the people with a caulk gun right now. Mines are really hurting. All right, new bolts going in. 20 Newton meters, inside to out. So I can do it with one finger with not too much effort. Now, let's put our aluminum bolts. There's a couple of different ones, and I'll show you guys. So these smaller, longer ones, M8s, they go at the extremities where your crank seals go. Then there's two longer M10 bolts. So look at this one, for example. This is the standard one, and this is the longer one. There's two of them, and these longer ones go at the top right here. And then the rest of the bolts just go around. There's no specific order to them, so I'll just go around and do them. The smaller E12 bolts, or the M8 bolts, are torqued at 8 Newton meters and 90 degrees. For our E14 socket, which is the rest of the bolts, we want to torque all of these at 15 Newton meters and 90 degrees. All right, that is everything torqued to spec. Now we need to quickly put the crank seals in. We can put in our rear main seal. So essentially, as you can see, there's a kind of a lip here. This has to go over it, and then you can just drive it in. Keep the silicone there. It can only help you that it's not pinched, and you can actually just slide it in. You can just drive it in with your old seal. All we have left is the front main seal, and for that we're gonna help ourselves by putting the crank hub. It's gonna help us to guide our seal. We have our little guide here. And there you go, all of it is fully sealed up. Main seals are back in, so the front seal is here. Now we have to mess around with the pistons. As you can see here, this is our faulty piston, the one that is quite darker and oval now. And essentially, instead of just like getting new pistons, getting new piston rings and whatnot, I mean, in itself, the piston is fine. Like the wear on the skirts is okay. It's the same wear on all of them, so I'd call it normal wear, but essentially this rod isn't good anymore. You can't just simply change any type of rod because all the rods are weighted in a different manner. So you can't just, for example, change one single rod out of the 6 and like pray that it works, because they all have to be within a certain range of weight. And according to the repair manual, BMW says that the rods need to be plus or minus 5 grams in between each other. I got 2 pistons from another parts out just in case that one isn't good, but we're going to compare the weight of these rods. To remove the rod, you need to remove the wrist pin. So I don't know if you can see, the circlip right here needs to come out. Now obviously wear glasses, this thing will shoot somewhere. I hope I can find it again. You see, it shot out immediately and I don't even know where it fell. Oh, found it. You should be able to push them out with your fingers, but with carbon buildup and whatnot, it can happen that it doesn't come out immediately. There you go. Oh, God, okay. And there you go. That's our rod. So we're gonna keep piston 4 like this. I'm gonna go get the other rods and we're gonna test them out. I don't know if you'll be able to see the number exactly, but a simple little kitchen weigh station works perfectly for this. Rod 3 is 520. Okay, so 523 grams for test rod number 1. Rod number 5, 520 grams. And that means that the rod that I just bought for which weighs 523 grams, should be fine for usage, and the engine should be balanced. So I'm just gonna start reassembling them. Just put a rod, they go any way you really want. You should be able to push it all the way in by hand. You can use a lot of stuff to put this ring back in. You can use a screwdriver. You can be safer and just try to use these plastic pry tools. Okay, almost. You can see now it's fully back in. I did scratch a bit here at the top, but it's not that bad. And so now, well, you just have to do it for every single piston. For me, I'm gonna put the rod from the other engine and put it with my piston from number 4. That way, well, we'll have a good piston. All right, well, that pretty much sums it for now. At least I achieved one of my main goals, which was to put back the bed plate, the crankshaft, all the main bearings, all that is good. All the main surfaces are good. And the RTV is setting, so that's good news. And she just spins beautifully. The crank seals are also placed. The front main seal, I'm a little less sure if it's good, if it's well placed. Next time I'll be updating you guys, it's probably during Christmas break, something like that. I'll be putting obviously the pistons back in, the oil pan, most likely the head too. So next episode, we'll be close to finishing the whole project actually. Can't wait to finish all this. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.